Living a rich life.
Yeah, that sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was watching a Netflix program on it.
Yeah. That's
There's
good,
a
that program.
series on it.
Yeah, I got quite
And
excited.
I thought we could chat about that today.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Get Real
With the English Sisters.
Join us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. As you're already listening, you'll know.
Yeah, you'll know. And please do hit the follow button. And we really appreciate it if you let us know you're watching. Let us know you're listening. It really does make a difference.
Yeah, and please do leave a review as well on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, because it helps other people find the show as well.
Yeah, it does. So let's get started then. So yes, how to live a rich life.
I was thinking about it because, I mean, apart from the fact that it's so easy now to get into debt.
Oh, you're actually talking about real financial rich life. I thought this was going to be like more...
Well, it's both.
Both, okay.
But
So
it's so easy to get into debt, and it's so easy to accumulate so much debt that you feel as if that you could never live a rich life, like what the program was talking about, because that was a financial advisor giving advice.
Yeah.
But it's also so easy to not realize what living a rich life really is, and how you can live a rich life now without actually being that rich.
Yeah, without being, because let's face it, most people are just like average or low income. I mean, there's not that many really rich people out there. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought the meaning of living a rich life was like, more like doing the best you can do with the money you have, or just enjoying it, I guess, enjoying your financial wealth, and whatever, no matter how much it is. So if you've only got enough to go down to the coffee shop and order a coffee, sort of enjoy that moment, because it's special for you, because you're spending I don't know what on that coffee. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I remember when I got my student grant.
Yeah.
Because in those days, fortunately, we got a grant, so we didn't have to pay back all the debt. But I remember thinking, gosh, I feel so rich.
Yeah.
And I've got enough money to go and buy a coffee.
That's what I mean.
Day.
Yeah,
and it was such a lovely feeling.
Well, us growing up poor, we know what that was like. We know what it was like to see other people sitting at the coffee shops and just not bothering about, having a tea and a cup of coffee and a cake.
And not worrying about how much it costs.
Not worrying about it. So I remember when Mum would actually say, all right, we're going to go and sit down and have a, cup of tea, and you get whatever you want. It was like, wow, I would feel rich. I think, gosh. So, yeah, maybe it's, I thought really it doesn't really matter how much your actual income is. It's what you actually do with that income. If you can manage to live experiences that
make you feel rich.
Make you feel rich inside.
And live a rich life.
Yeah. Live, because what does living a rich life really mean? I suppose it's subjective to each one of us.
Well, yeah, I remember Mum used to say things like, do you want to go on holiday to Spain this summer, or do you want
the family to buy a new sofa because this one's shabby? And
it was second hand. It was like someone.
It was somebody had given it.
It was definitely a hand me down.
It was definitely a hand me down, or it was just some
found on the tip.
Found on the tip. Somebody.
That one wasn't. I remember.
It wasn't, was it? No, because then she was very clever with her dressmaking skills, so she would refurbish it all herself.
But in those days, people would they would hire a skip. Do you remember? And they would outside their house, and they would throw their furniture in it, things they didn't want. It was possible to get things off the skip. People would,
you
would get things off the skip. I remember.
We would, that's for sure.
And
we were like little scavengers. Mum, we found a table. Oh wow, where is it? It's in the dip. I mean, that's how we grew up, isn't it? Office chairs, everything we would find in the dip. We would literally go there. But did we feel poor?
Not really.
Not really. When we found
Because
something
we
in the
used to
tip,
go, like,
it was...
because we were so much.
We would feel rich. We would say, wow, we've just found this. I mean, what is the saying? You know, once man rubbish is another man's gold.
And also when we would go on holiday, and we wouldn't have anything that was that nice at home, but when we would go on holiday, in the summer we would come back having had our lovely sunny summer holidays. We would feel rich compared to maybe our little friends that hadn't gone on holiday.
Even though they might have...
But they had beautiful stuff at home.
Yeah, they might have lovely
They had all the new prams and things.
The toy prams, yeah. Let's be specific.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, because you wanted that real toy pram, didn't you? The one you saw in the shop. Yeah. Yeah, then Dad made us little wooden ones, which were adorable.
They were.
They were so special, really.
Oh,
that the other kids down the block were jealous of ours.
They wanted the handmade
the handmade little wooden ones.
I think that's because there was two of us, so we would be prancing along really happy with them.
Well, yeah, obviously.
And the little girl up the road, she was on her own, I remember.
Poor thing, yeah.
I always wanted her pram.
You wanted her ones, yeah.
She had a lovely...
I can't remember wanting her one that much.
You didn't care that much. You weren't as materialistic.
No, I don't think I was, actually. I don't think I noticed these things that much.
Maybe I noticed it more because I was a little bit older.
Yeah,
being more conscious of it, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, maybe I was just like, I don't know what I was up to. Mum used to say I was a bit more mischievous. Maybe I was just running around more. I don't know what I was doing. I was cutting the flowers off by the looks of it.
Yeah, picking flowers for cooking. Anyway, the point is
we would make little meals with these, for cooking, because it sounds like...
With the peonies.
It was just, just child's play.
Yeah, you would cook. We would cook with little flowers and things.
Flower buds, yeah.
In the ground.
That was our distraction. That was especially what I remember liking doing.
Yeah,
I would make tea with earth and water, and then put it in this little toy teapot and serve it.
But then my mum saw us do that. She gave us real tea, I remember.
Yeah, I remember that. And then I remember not washing the teapot properly. I remember the stink of that teapot. She would make us put our toys away, and it had the leftover milk.
With the powder milk.
I don't know. I remember doing
to our dollies.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this was what I mean is that what we're getting back to saying is that even though we did grow up poor, relatively poor, poor, yeah, definitely poor. It was poor. We had enough to eat, but it was poor.
No, we were lucky. We had enough. Enough to eat.
Always loads, abundance of food, but there was poor in other aspects. I feel like we lived a very rich childhood. In the experience, in the sense of experience, in the sense of, I can't remember the lack, lack.
No, because, for instance, Paul McKenna, the hypnotist, he has an audio that's how to live your rich life.
Yeah, I love that.
When I listened to it, it said, imagine if you could have anything you wanted, all the richness and all the rich experiences. And I always feel really blessed because I always think, we had all those rich experiences because Mum made us travel. You know, even if it was just we went to travel to Switzerland, but it was a big deal in those days because people didn't really travel that much. So
we only went there because she had a sister that was there, so we could stay there for free. Yeah. And but that was a rich experience. Yeah, well, that was probably cost her a fortune actually.
Well, she saved up a year for it, didn't she?
Yeah, to send us on an airplane alone, which she couldn't come because it was too expensive.
And she had to work.
So she sent us off with our little passports in those little plastic tags you would have hung around your neck. And off we went. I mean, I was 9, you were 10. Yeah, we were very little. And that was a rich experience, actually, yeah. That was pretty amazing if you think about it now. So what you can do is, like, even if you're not very wealthy, you can create rich experiences for yourself. Like, I mean, I remember just even going on a picnic sounded amazing. I remember thinking I felt so it was Mum would special. It was special, yeah. She would just make her little tortilla de patata, which is like a Spanish omelette thing, and that was already special. She would make it seem as if that was special, but it was just potato, eggs and onions. And and delicious. And that was a whole faff around preparing that, putting it in the little basket, then going off down to the park. It was just down the road, but it seemed like it was a very rich experience doing things like that.
Well, yeah, I think they were. I mean, they were rich because we had, if you think about it, we were having quality time with our parents.
Yeah, you're right.
And with each other.
With
and
each
that
other,
is something that
that's rare, I guess.
Precious,
that's
isn't it?
precious.
And it's free, but it's free. It's not really free because it's only free if you
could afford to have the time.
She was able to do it because she was working from home as a childminder, and we would all go
working
together.
At night as an auxiliary nurse.
She would take us with the babies as well. We would
with
all
the
go
children,
together with the little children, and for us, really, she was working. If you think
she was
about
working.
It.
She was minding the other kids, wasn't she? Yes, babies.
But it seemed like it was time for us. It didn't seem like a chore.
No.
It seemed like, we've got all these lovely little babies to play with and look after and be with. And
it was special. Yeah.
So I think you can...
I still remember the squirrels in the park. I remember playing under the willow tree, the weeping willow tree. I always thought it was like magic when we would go under that tree. It was like so special, and then there was a castle in that park. Do you remember it?
It wasn't a castle. We used to call it a castle. It was a water tower.
Oh, water tower. Yeah. Oh.
It's probably still...
in Park Hill. In Croydon, there's this water tower. Yeah,
East Croydon.
I fantasized about,
wanted to go in,
wanted to go in there and
do you
thinking
remember
there
the
were
little
princesses
hill around
in there.
It was quite steep. We would climb up it.
I mean, those are experiences.
It was like Rapunzel's tower, really, wasn't it? It looked a bit like that.
It did,
because it had like old-fashioned brick.
Very, very, very Rapunzel.
It wasn't like a new thing.
Oh no, it looked really ancient, very magical. The whole thing was extremely. It was like going into some kind of film or something. If you think about our childhood now, looking back on it, and that's because it was based on perhaps having a parent that was able to see another side of her life as well, like our mum and our father as well. They weren't too involved in the story that they were poor immigrants.
No.
They were more involved in looking around them, enjoying what they had, looking for rich experiences around them that could make them feel special. Everything was special. Finding I mean, come on, finding a sofa, a settee in a rubbish tip, you think yuck. No, oh wow, big claps, we were all laughing, and I mean, it sounds as if I'm making this up, but there's two of us, we really lived this.
Happy.
I don't know that we were so happy. I mean, I remember Dad grumbling sometimes. He was a bit,
grumpy.
He would get grumpy,
He would say, leave it.
He would say, leave it there, woman. What are you doing? But then Mum would be able to fantasize how she was going to redecorate it.
She would go, reupholster it, basically.
She would reupholster it with the finest of cottons.
She would buy that's the rich life. She would buy the sofa. The tea was from the dump.
From the dump.
Or from the neighbour or whatever that didn't want it. It was in a state.
It was a terrible state. Yeah. She'd have to clean it so much.
She'd have to clean it and fix it and everything. But then she would go to
like Liberty.
To Liberty's. This was it. She would go to the Croydon, but she would get like Liberty type fabrics.
Definitely,
the
finest.
Very good quality fabrics, and then
spend quite a lot of money on that. Actually, thinking about it, but I suppose compared to what an entire sofa would cost.
Yeah, and then she would reupholster it and then make the matching curtains.
So the whole thing looked rich in the end. It looked plush. Well, for us.
For us, it looked
for our
plush,
standards, The fact that she'd made it by hand made it all really special.
Yeah, she made it special.
Yeah, so you can make things special. I mean, anything can be special. Anything really.
I mean, thinking about
rich.
today's climate, it was a really good way of like reusing and
definitely
called upcycling stuff, instead of one man's rubbish was another man's treasure.
Exactly. Yes. And that,
so it was very ecological as well what we were doing in those days without realizing it. Maybe
obviously we did not realize it. No, there wasn't so much awareness, but that is living rich though, really, isn't it?
Well, she always used to say if you didn't have enough money to save for what you really wanted, and then she would really buy. Do you remember she bought that expensive? I mean, the rest of the kitchen was a state.
Oh my God!
But she bought that expensive cooker.
That's her way of living rich. You see, so that's what we've learned from our parents. Yeah. Is that even though it's not much, you get one thing
that's very luxurious.
That's like makes you feel rich, and make that experience every time you experience that thing is going to make you.
She loved it, didn't she?
I mean, I still feel like that today, because if I have a lovely, I don't want to do brands, but my lovely new laptop, every time I see it, I love it.
Yeah.
I can't help. It makes me feel rich seeing that, even though now I know I can afford it.
Yeah.
But still, it gives me that sense, when I see it and it works so well and everything. It's more like with techno, I'm so amazed by it. Or even the phone, what it can do and everything. It makes me feel rich.
Well, it is a privilege,
it's a privilege, being able to have things
but
like
other people would take it for granted, I think. I think that's one of the things we've learned off Mum and Dad.
Growing up poor.
Yeah. But not just poor, but growing up poor with this rich mentality, like this rich... enjoying rich
it was so deep. Yes, the experiences were so really, I think that really is.
Because like we didn't, for instance, I remember in the hall we couldn't afford to buy a carpet, but yet Mum would go and buy the best quality like cut of meat, not super sirloin steak or anything, but a nice roast. So that on Sunday we had a nice roast.
But we didn't have a carpet down the stairs because you couldn't afford it.
Because she couldn't afford to get a carpet straight away. She would put pennies. Do you remember she'd have to save up for it, penny by penny, basically.
Yeah.
So,
pound by pound.
But we always had like delicious food. It was always like make the most of what you've got, but like live rich, abundant experiences in what she did.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And that rubs off, doesn't it?
Mm. And then she was very appreciative also.
Yeah, very appreciative, very grateful. So
I don't know if she got that from her because she grew up with that really rich aunt.
I don't know. Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Because she came from a very poor family and then she grew up until
she grew up. 15. She was taken away, and taken to her rich auntie.
Yeah, because she was ill.
I don't know. It's like going into our family. We're supposed to be doing a podcast here, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're going to have a chat about our mum. I mean, I hope you're going to get some benefit from this. It's just talking about our experiences. This really is getting real because this is how we grew up.
Well,
and
I remember as well.
What we can share with you.
Also, I remember when I listened to the Paul McKenna audio as well, he says in it, there's a piece where he says this thief comes in to steal all this man's possessions in his house, and so a monk. So the man says, you can have it, you can have all my possessions. And then he sits in his empty house and he looks out and he said, if only I could give him the moon.
Oh.
So he's looking at this beautiful moon and he's thinking, if only I could give the thief this experience of looking at the beautiful moon.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And that's what
you can never give anyone the moon. Why did you talk about the moon? I mean, I love looking at the moon. Why? I love seeing that full moon.
Your cat is obsessed with the
I
moon.
know. I'm almost
well, then, if you saw the moon yesterday, and
I didn't see
podcast
it,
but yesterday, the moon was like.
Why did I miss it?
It was a semi. I don't know if it was crescente or diminishing or growing, but it had Venus underneath it.
Gosh.
So it was absolutely spectacular. It looked like almost like a drawing.
The thing is,
semicircular moon, and then it had the star, the planet underneath.
You have to sort of really appreciate those things, or look at them.
Take a moment to look.
Take a moment,
and that's where the rich life comes from.
If you can't, but you just can't look sometimes.
What do you mean you can't?
Well, like some people don't want to look. They don't want to be in that moment.
I don't think they don't want to look. I think they've never learned to look. Yeah. It's something you have to have enough.
You have to close your eyes and then open them again and sort of like be able to absorb it, because no matter how many lovely things you have in front of you, if you don't know how to absorb them, it's like you can't really receive them. Or maybe you do receive them, but in a different way. That's what I say in the end. Like when I might tell my husband, look at the moon. He just says the moon, not the moon again. I've seen it before. I say, you can't tell me you've seen it before. Let's go outside and look at the moon. He said, no, I'd rather look at you. I say, darling, I appreciate you want to look at me, but if we look at the moon, in the summer evenings, I can convince him to look at the moon, like what you say, because I bribe him. I say, let's go out and have a drink or go outside. You've made me realise how I bribe him with that, with that. I give him like a treat. I give him a treat. Let's go and have a nice lolly outside. Let's go and have... I mean, he doesn't really drink much, but I guess if I offered him an Amaro or Italiano or something, he'd come out, But anyway, yeah. It's always marvelled me, but how it's just the way it's subjective, isn't it? The way you see different things.
But maybe it's from if you grow up with
this like magical kind of
magical kind of childhood. I mean, if you have this kind of magic in your life where you stop a moment to be mindful, to actually look at things, and how just to see, how amazing things are. Because
like the willow tree,
I
still remember the leaves,
how squirrels, the scent of the roses in the summer. I still remember walking up our little road and the roses.
Maybe it was more of an English thing. People seemed to be quite appreciative in those days. Or was it just our childhood?
I don't know. Yeah, people like gardening a lot in England. I think it's just that, that maybe it's that bit of the nostalgic way of being a bit more still and more...
Yeah, I don't know.
More mindful about things.
I definitely think if you can be a little bit still and mindful, then you can really enjoy things. And no matter what you're doing and no matter how much you're actually earning at the moment or not earning, you can still have, experience that richness in your life. The richness of
because richness is relative, isn't it? Because if you go on if you might think if you're more well off, you might think flying first class is amazing experience.
Amazing,
But if you've never done that,
just flying any class is brilliant.
Just going on a plane, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Like what happened to us when we went on a plane, or even now when we fly just normal everyday flights, you think, wow, we still think we're in London. I mean, and especially now after the pandemic and everything, you can really appreciate these things even more, I think.
Having freedom is already a great richness.
Yes, indeed. Very privileged.
Yes.
I think it's a very... If you open yourself up to living a rich life, you'll notice how much richness you actually have in your life.
And what makes you feel rich. So when you're doing something, you become like a little bit more aware of it and think, oh gosh, yes, this makes me feel rich in a multitude of ways because I'm really experiencing it. Is that right? That's how I feel.
Well, I think so, yes, because for someone, feeling rich might be to have a luxury chandelier in their house or something.
Oh, yeah. We know a lot about that.
We sell them.
We know a lot of people say, I'm really saving up for this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, gosh, you really want to spend I don't know, 2,000 euros on this now when you're saving. I mean, I had a client once, we both, she was saving for ages. Then her grandmother gave her some money. And so, then she bought it. So obviously that's important for her to have a piece of, Italian murata porcelain or glass, something special, that was going to make her feel rich every day she looked at it. So you can understand why you would want something like that. Yeah, because it was something that, you really makes you feel. It's all about feeling, really, isn't it? How you feel.
It's more about feeling than anything else.
Than being. Because you can have, so much money in the bank but not feel rich.
Yeah.
Or you can feel rich.
You can have so many assets as well, not feel rich.
Yeah, or you can just feel rich by having one or two things, or like what you said in the little story about the moon.
You can always maybe feel more as if you want more as well, and you're never rich enough. You can feel.
You can get stuck there.
You can get stuck in that feeling of lack.
Yeah,
which is not really.
It's not healthy. No, that's a bit sad if you're stuck in the feeling of lack.
That's what you see when you see that the people that are trying to keep up with other people all the time.
With the Joneses, with the next door neighbours, with the society.
Maybe on social media as well. You're always trying to keep up with someone else and you never feel quite rich enough.
Yeah.
But most of the really beautiful things in life are free.
Well, that's what they say, and as cliche as it is, I think, you reach our age and you begin to realise it is absolutely true. And some of the things you buy are beautiful, like what I was saying before, a new computer or the chandelier, and you can really appreciate them. But sometimes, just having a picnic in the park and, I don't know, doing really simple things can...
Having an afternoon to yourself.
Reading a book, having a chat with a friend can be precious. And there's no price.
And I think there's also no price to living a life where you're not always worrying about money either. Like making sure that you do get your finances in order as much as you can.
So that you can avoid that anxiety.
Yeah, so don't overspend on things that aren't really giving you that much value.
You can if you want, you can evaluate them a little bit and think, okay, so I'm spending this amount on this, I don't know, going out every Friday night or whatever, and spending this amount at restaurants, then I'm doing this and this. And you can think, when I do these things and these activities, how do I really feel? If you're mindful of it, you'll realise it and you'll say, no, that's really great. It makes me feel...
Absolutely wonderful.
Wonderful. It makes me feel rich. It's a really important part of my life. Well, then you leave it. But if it's not, maybe you can feel rich in other ways. You can think about it. What it actually is that makes you feel rich.
I know.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is. Because it's so
feeling rich, what is it? It's not feeling happy. It's not feeling sad.
You can have multi-billionaires.
Rich. What does rich? Yeah.
We've worked with people that are ultra high net worth people, and they don't even feel that rich because there's the next person that's got 5 billion more.
They're always talking about it's just $1 million. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really make that much difference. No. I guess it's if you have been brought up in a different way and you feel you're always in lack, then I think if you're aware of that, you can work on it. You can fix it.
Definitely.
You can fix it.
You can fix it by just starting to appreciate all the little things that you've maybe been taking for granted that you didn't realise you were taking for granted.
Having a good laugh is like priceless. And if you find someone you can have a good laugh with, then I would say never let that person go, because that's being rich for me. Having a good laugh, or just sitting and watching a film that makes you laugh. Even that's rich.
That's lovely, isn't
it? That's great. Because sometimes you forget how important laughter is.
Oh yes.
The older you get, you find you laugh less and less.
Remember there was a time when we thought we didn't laugh much?
Yeah, I do.
That was before we started all our studies and our NLP and things, and we was thinking, life's not that funny anymore.
Just saying it, it sounds so funny. We did think that. We did think life wasn't that funny. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think we got stuck in a rut or something.
Yeah, you're stuck in a rut and you have all your problems. I mean, everyone's got problems.
Yeah, you hear all these problems all the time. Health problems, financial problems. The car, the house, the kids, and
the world,
or the lack of kids, because you want to have kids. Like I suffered from infertility problems. I was for years and years doing IVF and blah blah blah. So yeah, and then sometimes you think, well, life is hard. You know, it's not that fun. It's not fun like I thought it was. Like like that magical childhood kind of thing. You know, then it.
But if someone broke down that magical childhood, they think, well, it wasn't that magical.
Exactly. When you break it down, you realise Mum and Dad were immigrants. They were broke. We got
everything was a struggle for
everything
them.
Was a struggle, terrible struggle. Mum would have to work night shifts, and she would not only do that, go out on a bike in the night on a bicycle. So that when we were little, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I hope she comes back okay. I hope a bus doesn't run her over. She was tiny as well. She wasn't, like we came out more or less tall, like our father, but our mum, she would like, if you can see me on
her little Miss Pepperpot, wouldn't
yeah,
they?
she was absolutely tiny, and she would go off at night. She would say good night, put us to bed and everything, and then say, all right, Mum's going to work now. I would hate it. I would just think, gosh, I hope she comes back all right. And then in the morning when I'd hear her like little bike coming back in at 6 a.m. or whatever, I think, phew, she's come back and she's okay. So yeah, it wasn't all roses and elves and fairies and making little... there were struggles. Thanks. There were struggles, yeah. But somehow the richer part of it
came through.
It like enveloped it more. It's what we chose to see, and perhaps what we were taught to see more than the other.
We were taught gratitude, weren't we?
We were taught to see that. Yeah,
it's so silly now, but it's true.
We're deciding to have a laugh now. No, it doesn't seem silly.
It was love and gratitude.
It was, yeah.
And that's all you need, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like, love and gratitude.
And food. All our basic needs were basically met most of the time.
Yeah. And when we didn't have enough money to buy a school uniform, Mum would make it for us. And make out as if that was super special. Then you would remember you would get teased for it. But, you would say, hey, I have a different school uniform, whatever costume I was going to call it, school uniforms, because literally Mum could not afford those. They were expensive, those school uniforms. You'd have to have all those little things, the little hats and everything.
Well, we had to buy those. Yeah, because you couldn't make that.
Yeah. But
anyway, we hope you're going to go off and live your rich life.
And think perhaps a little bit about, what makes you feel rich,
Yeah, and
could be just buying...
And do more of that.
Yeah, I mean, the other day I was asking my son, what is it that makes you feel rich? And he started looking at the pink salt of the Himalaya, and he said, this makes me feel rich, because it's like comes from so far away. And even though it's still quite pricey actually to buy it.
It's very pricey compared to normal.
Compared to normal white salt that's had, but even small things like that it's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill your budget to buy a packet of that if that's what makes you feel rich.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what it is, but I think being aware of it and spoiling yourself sometimes, with these kind of experiences as well is good to release.
To let you have a nice cup of coffee on a nice terrace.
Yeah, on a nice terrace,
I always remember when I was younger that I was always... Well, I did do it, but it was like...
Special.
It was special, yeah, and you'd appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. We still appreciate it now.
Exactly. I think that's
the secret, really.
To
never stop appreciating.
Never stop appreciating.
Always feel a bit like what you were saying the other day, a bit like a student.
Still feel like a student now, and thank goodness, we're okay. And fine. But I don't know what it is. It's probably because we grew up poor, like what you said.
Yeah, I think so. It never does quite leave you.
No, but I think it's a blessing.
I do believe it is a blessing. It's like a bit
It's
privileged,
like a
actually. You are, yeah.
It'd be like the opposite of what you would imagine. Obviously, the kind of, I'm not saying, if you haven't got food or the kind of
poor
that we experienced. That my mum and dad, my mum and dad might say, but they were always grateful and happy as well.
No, they were super grateful.
Yeah. So it's not as if, it's luckily, it was okay for us. But obviously, if you're struggling even more, it's not the same thing, and it's very difficult. But you can. I think you can still find.
You do see these children in the very, very poor countries that do smile.
And they're happy.
I don't know if they're happy, but they're very cheerful.
And you said in some of when you came like hitchhiking, when you didn't even have any money.
That's the time I
felt people were to
free.
you.
I couldn't believe the sense of freedom. Yeah,
freedom and
with
the generosity. That everyone was so generous to you.
They would just offer us meals and everything. It was wonderful. It was dangerous. Never do it. It was, I did it in those days. It was years ago in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it was still quite dangerous coming over to the Mediterranean countries. But that's, yeah.
Anyway, let us know what your experiences are and if you're living your rich life. And if you are struggling with debt or anything, I'd recommend you watch the Netflix program.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, watch it. It can help you. Absolutely.
And do come and say hello on our YouTube channel as well, or on Twitter, or at Get Real with the English Sisters on Instagram. Come and follow us as we're growing there too.
Yeah, come and join our family and share your experiences with us too.
Yeah.
And if you want us to talk about something on the next podcast, just write it down. We'll take lead. Write to us and we're...
Oh, and also check out our book, Stress Free in 3 Minutes, which is available on Amazon and in all good bookshops to order, also on Kindle and Audible.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of gratitude in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, they're very short, like little hypnotic stories, really, aren't they? It's hypnotherapy, really, in tiny size bites. So you just read one tiny little thing and kind of gets your unconscious mind working on it.
Easy to digest.
Yeah, very, very easy to digest. It's a bit of a particular little thing, isn't it?
Oh, yes. It's special.
It's special,
It gave us, when writing it was special for us.
It was therapeutic, and we know that many of our colleagues, hypnotherapists, actually use it in therapies, but it's good for everyone.
Good to be stress-free and anxiety-free.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you online. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lots of love from the
English Sisters.
Bye-bye.